everyone. I'm Manasi Oza. I work as a couples therapist at Manoshanti, Bangalore. And I welcome all our listeners to the next episode of Mind Matters with Manoshanti, where we discuss matters related to mental health, one brief podcast at a time. And today we have with us a very special guest, Dr. Bindu Annigeri. Dr. Bindu is a highly experienced psychiatrist with over 15 years of experience in treating patients with mental health issues. And going forward, she's also going to head the Mysuru branch of Manoshanti. So I welcome you to the podcast, Dr. Bindu.
Thank you, Mansi. Thanks for arranging for this podcast.
Yeah, it's a pleasure to have you. And Dr. Bindu has chosen to speak on an extremely interesting topic, which is of also a lot of interest to me, which is physical exercise and mental health. So, without further ado, I think I'll start. So, Dr. Bindu, to start off with, what first got you interested in the connection between physical exercise and mental health?
Um, right. So, as a psychiatrist, I'm of the understanding that the mind and the body are uh, interconnected, and whatever physical activity is done has an impact on the brain and, in turn, the mind.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when I learned that there is significant evidence, that is scientific evidence, to say that exercise is preventive in many physical as well as psychological problems, then I thought, why shouldn't this be a part of the prescription?
Mm.
To quote some personal experiences, I used to be a small time athlete and was also training in martial arts during my school days. Now,
Yeah.
after the tremendous exercise, there used to be a certain sense of well being, a certain sense of uh, feeling good. It was also there when I used to cycle long distances as an adult. Now, I did
Mm-hmm.
not understand why, but now, as a psychiatrist, I know why and how physical exercise and mental health are connected.
All right. All right. That's very interesting. So you were an athlete yourself.
Yeah.
That's very interesting. Right. So, and you said, you didn't at that time really understand why it made you feel good. But I suppose, now that you are a psychiatrist and now that you've studied all of this, so now can you explain to us how does physical activity actually affect our brain, emotions, or what happens chemically, when we exercise in the brain?
Yeah, it all makes a lot of sense now. Exercise of any form
Hmm.
releases a lot of beneficial chemicals called neurotransmitters in the brain, and some of these are endorphins, dopamine, which are also
Hmm.
called the happy hormones, which
Hmm.
are responsible for well-being. These
Hmm.
have been proven to improve mood and also bring about a sense of physical as well as mental well-being, and
Hmm.
this lasts for many hours in a day. So this means that it is known to reduce anxiety and also symptoms of depression. So
All
this
right.
further means that in women, it reduces the psychological and physical symptoms which occur premenstrually and also those that
Hmm.
occur during the postmenopausal period. So this is one aspect which is very beneficial among women. Now,
Hmm.
in conditions like dementia and cognitive impairment, as we call it technically, that
Hmm.
is the onset of forgetfulness in old age, exercise is known to prevent or delay the onset of symptoms of dementia. So these are the um most important effects of exercise, chemically as well as neurologically, that
Hmm.
we have to make use of.
Right. Right. So you're saying that it helps with various disorders, right? Including depression, anxiety. It prevents cognitive decline. So
Yes.
would you say that physical exercise is just generally speaking beneficial, cutting across all kinds of mental health difficulties? Or would you say that it is more useful in certain disorders versus others?
I think it is effective in most conditions, whether
Hmm.
they are physical or mental, whether it is anxiety, depression, or any severe mental health conditions.
Hmm.
It is known to be beneficial in some way or the other, provided we choose the right kind of activity.
Right.
So, yeah.
All right. So, before we come to the kind of activity, because I have a question on that as well. But so when you say it is beneficial in all mental health conditions, would you say as a psychiatrist and as somebody who treats mental health conditions regularly, would you say that it can work as a supplement? Does it work as a supplement, or does it work as an alternative entirely to medication in certain conditions?
Yes, definitely. Medical or mental health conditions are caused due to multiple factors, one of which is the lack of movement. So
Hmm.
these conditions are treated by targeting these factors that cause them. So this is the foundation of treatment. Now, considering that a lack of movement is one of them, it is only imperative on our part to introduce movement or exercise as part of the treatment or prescription. Now, I
Hmm.
think any amount of benefit that can be obtained through physical exercise should be made use of. Now, whether it can be used as an alternative or as a supplement depends on the severity of the condition. Now,
Right.
mild or moderate symptoms of anxiety and depression can be tackled with exercise alone. In fact, exercise and physical activity can be preventive in anxiety and depression. Studies have
Right.
shown that it is known to prevent the onset of symptoms of anxiety and prevention in a lot of young people,
Hmm.
whereas more severe forms can use exercise as a supplement.
Right. Right. So depending on the severity of the condition,
Yes.
but you do say that, in mild to sometimes mild cases of anxiety and depression, it can actually help the person cope with those symptoms even without medication. So
Yes, it can prevent the worsening of the condition.
right, right. That's amazing, I believe. All right. So now I come to a bit of practical advice for the listeners. So how much, and you already mentioned what kind of, provided you choose the right kind of physical activity, right? So how much and what kind of exercise do people really need to see benefit to their mood, or any other condition that they have?
Right. I'll answer the second part of the question, that is, what kind of exercise do
Hmm.
the people really need to do? Now,
Hmm.
the good news is that there is a variety of activities to choose from, like simple brisk walking,
Hmm.
aerobics like running, jogging, swimming, dancing, high intensity interval training, and strength training, which means weightlifting. I
Hmm.
would say that one has to first do a trial and find out what really works for them.
Hmm.
Now, how much? Uh, Now we have to aim for at least 30 minutes of moderate aerobic exercise. When I say aerobic exercise, it is walking, running, jogging, swimming, etc.
Hmm.
Every day, and about 20 minutes of weight training per day. So this is
Right.
the minimum amount of exercise that one has to do every day. That
Right.
that is, and this is known to be beneficial. If you are able to do more than this, then nothing like it.
Nothing like it. Right. Right. So you are saying that the good news is any kind of physical activity to start off with, you don't need to really choose between this or this or this, and you don't need to really
Yes,
think too much about it. Just
yes,
start off with something, and that's what you recommend.
correct.
But
Start
then,
off with something,
hmm,
be consistent with that, see in what way it is helping you, and then keep
hmm,
adding on to that activity or supplementing or switching over to another activity which you find interesting.
right,
So, as my professor puts it, find out what works for you. I
hmm,
will repeat that.
right,
And it will
right.
it will be a process of finding out as to what works for you, what is beneficial and what you enjoy, but it is all worth the experiment.
Right, right. Yeah, this is fantastic. I suppose that, it doesn't have to be, because sometimes people get very caught up in, okay, what should I
Correct.
do? And nowadays there's so much information also out there.
Yes, yes.
So I suppose just to start off with something and then figure out what works for you and keep adding more to it. So that sounds
Correct.
pretty doable.
So there is no one way of taking care of your mind and body.
Hmm. Hmm.
Start doing something
Hmm.
and then see what helps.
Hmm. Hmm. Right. Now, Dr. Bindu, a lot of people might actually, people who either themselves suffer from depression or have loved ones who suffer from depression. You see, motivation is a significant factor that gets impacted in people with depression, and they typically don't feel like doing much, right? So how do we solve that problem of somebody not simply not feeling motivated to move or get some kind of physical movement, and how do those kinds of people push themselves, or is it just a matter of pushing yourself, or is there something else that there is to it?
I think the lack of motivation is not just there in those suffering from depression, but even in those who do not have any symptoms of anxiety or depression.
Mm,
I think every
true.
single person on this earth should exercise.
Yeah.
So,
Right.
motivation to start and sustain the activity should always come from inside rather than outside. We have heard enough of depending on external factors like support, environment, rewards, and incentives to take care of ourselves. Now, when
Mm,
are we going to take any self responsibility and do what is necessary for our own body and mind?
mm,
For how long are we going to blame the lack of time or time crunch? I
mm,
understand that family responsibilities or work sometimes really lead to a time crunch, but is it
mm,
always that, or is there a perceived lack of time?
mm, mm,
Think about it. We sit and scroll through social media and watch TV for ourselves. Do we really lack time to exercise? I'm going
mm.
to be really curt here and say, take some self responsibility, have some self compassion. You are the only one who can make a difference in your health, whether it is mental or physical. You cannot blame anyone for whatever that happens to your body and mind. So essentially, it is self responsibility. That's all.
Right, right. That's really interesting, because recently I've also come across this whole thing where we call it the action motivation loop, where what they say is that motivation actually comes after action, not before action.
Yeah. Yes.
So they say that just start off with it, and then the motivation will come on its own. But the first step is to actually take action.
Yeah,
Um,
and how long are nice gym clothes or nice gym shoes or a nice bottle going to help you sustain your activity? It's not,
right,
it's all only external.
right, right.
They will not last long. Whatever you think of doing for yourself is what is going to last longer.
Right, right, right. And I suppose you're also saying in a way that, self-care, means a lot more than just resting, or, I mean, of course, rest is important, but, when you want to care for yourself, physical activity also is one of the ways for really, really
Correct.
caring
It's a
for
very
yourself.
important aspect of self-care, especially for women.
Right,
I'm
right.
not
Special.
discounting the use of exercise in men,
Hmm.
but um, for a woman's mental health, self-care in the form of physical exercise is extremely important. And
Right.
um, I think they have to start taking responsibility for themselves.
Right.
I like this line from the aircraft: put on your own oxygen mask first before you
Hmm.
help others.
Hmm.
So, unless you take care of yourself, how are you going to take care of others?
Yeah, yeah. Makes a lot of sense. Makes a lot of sense. Um, right. Now, given that you're talking about doing it.
Before that, for
Hmm,
those with depression, everything again depends on the severity. More severe
hmm,
forms will definitely require medical help. Start
hmm,
taking that and also start small activities to supplement that treatment. like
Right.
walking or stretching, and then you can progress on that. In fact, it is known that as less as 5,000 steps of walking per day can prevent and help depression and anxiety. There are a lot of YouTube videos and online classes available. You do not even
Mm.
have to step out. So
Right.
those videos and online classes can be made use of.
Right.
So
Right.
there is
So you're
everything available except
hmm,
the self responsibility.
right. So you're saying that even for people who have moderate to severe depression, get on medication, get the required treatment, and then slowly and gradually start supplementing it with physical activity.
Yes,
And resources are already available online. So it's not
yes,
like now you don't have resources for that.
yes,
Right.
yes,
Right. All
absolutely.
right. So now the other question that I have is that would you say that schools and workplaces can play an important role in sort of encouraging physical activity, exercise, and and how do you think they can do that?
Children should be made aware of physical and mental health benefits of sports and exercise, help them to inculcate interests in different activities right from their formative years. A very
Hmm.
important change that needs to be brought about is the reduction of screen time. Parents
Hmm.
have to be little more disciplined themselves in
Right.
disciplining the child and not be inconsistent with allowing certain amounts of screen time. There has to be a
Right.
certain rule that has to be curtailed to a large extent, because
Hmm.
screen time has become a more attractive and easier way to spend time for a child. They do not
Hmm.
need company, they do not need to step out or
Hmm.
play anything to have fun. Everything
Hmm.
is there on the screen. They are playing virtual games.
Hmm. Hmm.
So why will the child go out and play for fun? So
Right.
that has to be something that should change among children. Now,
Hmm.
workplaces also should encourage using stairs, but I think the entire responsibility finally falls on an individual to try and be physically active rather than this external motivation of the workplace trying to facilitate it.
Right, right. I mean, of course, nowadays I know of corporates and all of the. I mean, big companies do have gyms and all of that. But honestly, I believe that even there, people either hesitate to go and use it, or I'm not sure how many takers there are for those kinds of
Exactly. The
facilities.
workplace
So,
can provide a lot of things, but what is
hmm,
required here? I
right.
wanting to exercise.
True, true. So it does again come down to, whether you whether I as an individual want to take that responsibility and then,
Yes,
do it.
absolutely. That is all that is necessary.
All right. Um, I mean, I think I skipped one question, and I now do want to ask you about it. So sometimes there may be people with limited mobility,
Right.
or it could be a chronic illness or chronic mental illness that they have, and would physical exercise still help them? And would it? I mean, how would they choose again what kind of physical activity to kind of undertake?
Right. There are many physical activities even for such individuals.
Hmm.
Now, for people with chronic mental illness, sometimes it is difficult for the family to handle all this and also engage them in different activities. So a
Hmm.
therapist would do a better job here.
Hmm.
Playing games which involve certain rewards helps in chronic mental illness.
Hmm.
Uh, Now, for those with limited mobility, a physiotherapist would be able to help. Um, yeah, and there are certain agility exercises for the elderly to prevent falls, to improve
Hmm.
balance. Using resistance bands helps in
Hmm.
these individuals where you do not have to move too much.
Hmm.
Using stationary bikes is also helpful in those with limited mobility.
Right.
So there are things available. One has to want to do it.
Hmm. Hmm. So there are modifications available, and there are special
Yes,
kinds of exercises that one can
yes, yes,
undertake.
yes,
Right.
yes,
Right.
yes.
All right. All right. That's really nice. Um. Right. So this is a question which I think nowadays is being spoken about. So where do you see the field of lifestyle psychiatry or exercise psychiatry in the next few years? Do you see it becoming more and more popular?
Yeah, the good news is that it has already begun to take momentum.
Hmm.
More and more people are becoming aware and are indulging in physical exercise and taking care of themselves. I see it as a preventive measure. I would
Hmm.
like to emphasize on this. It is a preventive measure for innumerable physical and mental health conditions. Awareness
Hmm.
of this has to spread wider, which I'm sure will happen at whatever speed it has to happen.
Hmm. Hmm.
We need to make people more and more aware of
Aware.
the benefits.
Right, right. And Dr. Bindu, very interestingly, you mentioned at the beginning of this conversation that, it should really be prescribed. So,
Yes, it should
like
be
medications.
prescribed.
So, do you actually write prescriptions of
No,
physical activity, like, 30 minutes, 3 times a week or something like that?
I may not write it on the prescription, although that is a good idea. If it is on paper, it may have more impact on the individual, I think. But
Right,
I tell most of my patients that they have to start doing some form of exercise. I give
right.
them different options and I tell them that I try to explain to them as to how it is going to be beneficial in their condition
Hmm,
and how it could prevent many other conditions and the role of diet in all of these
hmm,
things.
right. Right. Right, that's great. So now, just to close, if you could give listeners one simple, realistic. So, okay, say for example, I am, your patient, and I say that I am completely sedentary, and I find it very hard to exercise, right? And now that you've taught me that, it's all down to me. Having said that, is there anything simple that you would advise me to sort of just do every single day, which might help me feel better and also do something consistently on a day-to-day basis? So one simple thing.
Walks are something that you can begin with. Like I said earlier, as less as 5,000 steps per day are known to be beneficial. If
Hmm.
you're, if based on your physical, um, physical health,
Hmm.
you can continue to do the walking, or you
Hmm.
can eventually choose more vigorous forms of exercise like um, weight training or aerobic exercise. Because if you're able to do it, then why not? Physically, if you're able to do it, then why not?
Right.
See, in the elderly and those with limited mobility, yes, short walks, walking slowly are
Hmm.
okay. But for
Hmm.
those who do not have problems with mobility, I would
Hmm.
say start with walking and then go on to do more than
Right.
walking, because
Right.
that is going to help your body more and more.
Right. Right.
And I would say prioritize yourself, take self responsibility, remain consistent. You can make trials, errors, and then learn
Hmm.
from them, and then
Hmm.
find out what is going to work for you the best. It's not going to happen overnight. There
Overnight.
has to be some experimentation that should go on, because every individual is different. Everybody's requirement is different.
Hmm.
So there is no one way of doing this. There's
Right.
no ideal way of doing it.
Just
Everything,
do it.
yes, start doing it. Then you will know what is good for you. Because our
Right.
bodies are built to move. So let's start
Right.
moving. Get your
Right.
exercise for your own self care, for your physical and mental health, and for your loved ones. That's
It
what I would
makes a
say.
lot of sense. Makes a lot of sense. This reminds me of a very funny tweet that I had read a few years ago. And somebody had written that, everybody keeps asking me to take a walk, and I have been feeling very anxious this morning. So I just decided to go out for a walk. And I am very upset to tell you all that it has worked and it has reduced my anxiety. So I guess, just start by walking, I think is one of the important messages. You can build it up. So to our listeners, I think the important takeaway is that one, physical exercise is exceptionally beneficial, whether you have a mental health condition or not. If you do not have a mental health condition, it works as a preventive, measure
Absolutely.
against
Yes.
against all kinds of mental health conditions. If you have it, it works as a supplement to your treatment, and it. I think there are no downsides, to be frank, right?
No, there are no
To
downside. There are no side
right.
effects to this medicine.
There are no side effects to this medicine. Yeah. And so, what Dr. Bindu recommends is that just start off, even if it's by just getting some 3 to 4 thousand steps a day, and then build up on it and figure out what really works well for you. And that would really help.
And
Have I summarized that?
consistency more
Yeah.
than intensity
Hmm.
is what is going to help you sustain this.
Right. So doing it 6 times a week is better than doing 3 hours of exercise on a
In
given day.
a, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Right, right. All right. So consistency over intensity is what matters. So I
Yes.
think this is what you have to say. Thank you so much, Dr. Bindu, for speaking with us. And after this, I'm definitely going going for a walk because I think I'm
Please do.
motivated enough to do that. And it was so lovely speaking with you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mansi.
Yeah. All right.